Hi, Acadiana. Meteorologist Dave Baker here on a Monday. Today's August the 24th. Welcome to Let's Talk Tropics. Kind of a busy weather day here locally, especially farther to the east over toward the capital region, southeastern Louisiana. But I do think we're going to get our taste of some showers and thunderstorms here locally a little bit later this afternoon, and there might be a severe weather component to go along with it. But first, we're going to be focusing a little bit here on 95L. It is a tropical wave, a disturbance, I guess we could call it, near Bermuda. We've been watching it most of the week, but it doesn't seem to have much more of a chance of development here today compared to what we've seen over the course of the weekend. But there's another tropical wave that's coming off the African coast that will likely be watched most of this week. It's really something we've been talking about now for a week, that this wave was going to come over, and most of the tropical models were kind of picking up on something out there. So real quick look outside here, mid to late morning. We're here just before the 11 o'clock hour, and everything is looking okay out here right now. We've got generally sunshine. Just a few clouds are starting to pop up a little farther to the east. We've got a little thunderstorm out in the offshore waters there from Pensacola, but look how beautiful that water is today. And over toward Orange Beach, everything looking nice and smooth. Same goes with Dauphin Island, Alabama. A great shot there looking offshore. You can start to see some of the little cumulus clouds starting to develop here over near Cocodrie. Now, we've got a very unstable atmosphere, but we've got another piece of energy that's going to slide southward along the Mississippi River today, and that should provide us a little bit more with that trigger to get some of the showers and thunderstorms going. And then once they're going, I think they're going to be able to feed off the atmosphere pretty easily and keep going as they head off toward the Gulf Coast. Unfortunately, the timing's not going to be great. Late afternoon, early evening, so dismissal from school and through the 5 o'clock drive. If you're lucky enough to not have to go to work or school today and you're doing some boating or some fishing, you got a pretty decent day, at least for this morning, but I would try to get any of your fun stuff out of the way before about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're from Vermilion Bay westward, maybe get back on land a little bit earlier if you're over in southeastern Louisiana, particularly around Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Maurepas. I'd be off the waters by 1 or 2 o'clock, because you can see that this line of thunderstorms is continuing to grow. This was a very small area of thunderstorms early this morning, but it's continued to grow and feed off a very unstable atmosphere. So as it shoves its way southward, I do believe we'll probably catch at least some severe thunderstorm watches later on today. I know the Storm Prediction Center was kind of talking about the possibility of a severe thunderstorm warning here coming up later on this morning or into the early part of the afternoon. Kind of waiting for something to load in here on the mesoscale discussions, but it is talking about an 80% chance that we're going to have a severe thunderstorm watch. Right now, it looks like it's going to focus more on southeastern Louisiana, but it looks like at least the eastern half of Acadiana might be included in this. So I would not be surprised to see a severe thunderstorm watch sometime here a little bit later this morning or early this afternoon. Big picture showing a ridge of high pressure off toward the west once again, and we're kind of around that ring of fire here, and you can see the disturbances. They come down and then they shove off like that. They've gotten closer that we were able to get those afternoon thunderstorms, kind of the same situation we saw on Friday. Today's going to be very much like that, with the possibility of some gusty winds. Front coming off the east coast of the U.S., no worries out there. We're going to get to the little wave that's over near Bermuda here in just a minute, but I wanted to check the local neighborhood first and show you that the Gulf waters are looking fine, and the Bay of Campeche's got a lot more moisture there down toward the south, but we don't have anything organized there right now. Looks like a bit of a wave just kind of moving westward there over the southern part of the Bay of Campeche, and it looks like that wave extends down to around Nicaragua this time around. So we got a little more convection down there, but since all that's over land, we're not going to see any new activity developing there. The rest of the Caribbean looks okay. You got a bit of a wave south of the Dominican Republic, providing some showers and thunderstorms there, and a little wave that's going to enter the southern part of the Caribbean Sea. And then out here in the Atlantic, these are the areas that we're watching. We got 95L, that's right there. And you got a brand new tropical wave right here. Both of those are the areas that the National Hurricane Center are watching now. The tropical area that's near Bermuda might have a little bit better chance, might even become a subtropical storm. At this point, not seeing anything becoming a tropical depression or a named storm there. And then the other wave that's coming off of the African coast probably won't do anything for the next couple of days, but maybe a week down the road, we could have a tropical system there. So that is something we're going to be watching. And the Global Tropics Hazard Outlook has been advertising a little bit busier conditions out in the central part of the Atlantic. But the really good news is it is not showing any new activity here over the Gulf or the Caribbean. So as long as all these tropical systems stay out of our neighborhood, we should be in much better shape. So let's focus on 95L here real quick. And again, it's close to the island of Bermuda, which is way over here. And you can see the convection to the east. It looks like it's trying to get organized, but it's still fairly disorganized. Wind shear is kind of dropping off a little bit. And this would likely lift to the north and stay to the east of Bermuda. So right now, Bermuda does not seem to be in the crosshairs for this. And then when it comes to the intensity models there, you can see that it doesn't appear that it's going to be very strong. Might get a name, but likely won't. And again, there's a look at the track guidance with it pulling northward and then eventually getting pulled out to sea. So I'm not too concerned about 95L. Let's look at the models though. And let me go ahead and grab the bigger picture here, so we can look a little bit farther out. I'm going to go ahead and take the PWATS and the surface pressures. That way we can see if we've got any low-level, low-pressure areas trying to develop, and also to see if they are accompanying any moisture to go along with it. So with the Euro model, this is going into tomorrow, and you can see we've got that wave that comes off the African coast. Doesn't seem to be paying much attention to what's over near Bermuda, but the Euro model has been kind of robust on keeping some kind of a tropical system moving across the Atlantic here and then starting to make more of a turn toward the north as it moves into the western part of the Atlantic. Now, the 6Z Euro model doesn't go out quite as far, so we'll go ahead and just see if we can grab the 0Z here and take it a little bit farther out. And yeah, the Euro kind of wraps it around that ridge of high pressure, and then you got a trough coming off the east coast. So right now, that there, according to what I'm looking at, does look like we're not going to have to worry about anything coming toward the Gulf waters. Let's real quick grab the GFS, which last week was kind of advertising more of a parade of storms. Let's see if it's got anything else out there. And the GFS was also trying to track this system a little bit farther to the south over the course of last week, but now it looks like it seems to be pretty much in agreement of the Euro model. So again, wonderful news to see anything that might develop out here is likely not going to move into the Gulf waters. But I wouldn't be surprised before the week is over that we have Tropical Storm Dolly. If it doesn't happen as a subtropical storm near Bermuda, then that next system that's out there over coming off the African coast will likely be the next system there. Real quick, we'll grab the Canadian. It's always a little bit more robust, and you can see it kind of fizzles that thing out. So it is not as excited as what the GFS and the Euro is showing, and then maybe more of a westward turn before getting pulled toward the north. So the Canadian model pretty much out to lunch when it comes to any agreement of the Euro and the GFS. And then let's go ahead and grab the Icon. Now remember, the Icon doesn't go out very far. It only goes out 7 days. So it's kind of online or in track with the GFS and the Euro. So got some agreement there. I think we're probably going to see another named storm before the week is over, and likely this will not be affecting the Gulf waters. Now, it is going to run into a little bit of a problem. There is a considerable amount of wind shear there. If it can squeeze a little bit farther to the south of that area, might have a chance, but I think that wind shear is expected to kind of increase there over the western part of the Atlantic. So I wouldn't expect a whole lot out of this, but you never know this time of the year. Sometimes it can grab into some of that energy in the warmer waters, as well as the heat content that's down below. And sometimes we can see something overcoming some of that wind shear, but it will have to become more of a mature system before it can really start to, kind of get around some of that wind shear. If it's still in the development stage, then like what we saw with the Canadian model, anything out there would just be ripped apart. Water temperatures are plenty warm, although they're not extreme, which is a good sign for us here here across the Atlantic basin, but if you look over in the Pacific, how much darker red all those colors are, you got some bath water now there over the Pacific. It's pretty much bath water across much of the Atlantic as well, but it is not as warm as what we have seen in previous years. And as we look at the hurricane activity, remember we've got just about 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks now until we reach the peak of the hurricane season. And as we start to roll into the new month of September here in about a week, you can see that the full Atlantic is pretty much open for business. So not a lot going on, not a lot to talk about. 95L will watch. I'm not real sure if that's going to become a tropical depression, but I think that other wave that's coming off the African coast might have a much better chance for development. Of course, later today, be on the outlook for the skies. Look to the north. That's where some of these bigger thunderstorms are going to come through. Pick your favorite app. I prefer the WBRZ app. If you want to check that out, download it, turn the alerts on, and then that way you're a little bit more ahead of some of the storms. And don't worry if it's a WBRZ and it's over in Baton Rouge. You set your location, it's going to be just fine for you here in Lafayette or wherever you are here along the Gulf Coast. Well, I hope you enjoy Let's Talk Tropics. And if you do like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications. Don't forget, you can catch my forecast on WBRZ Channel 2. I'll be there again on Friday for Tune In, which starts at 5 a.m. And of course, thanks to all of you following my social media pages and all of my subscribers on Acadiana Weather Today right here on YouTube. I'm Meteorologist Dave Baker. Have yourself a great start to your week, and I'll see you on Tuesday.